All right, everybody, got a busy day today. Yes, we're going to break out the old briefcase indicator. Powell and the Reserve Boys trying to get their mojo back, trying to get their credibility back. I don't see how, quite frankly, that's possible at this point in time. Do you trust what they have to say? Do you have confidence that the Federal Reserve can rein in inflation? No. Me either. I do have faith in the American business person. I do. I do have a belief in the free market, in the free economy. And the way we're going to deal with inflation, quite frankly, is getting the government out of the way, cutting back on ridiculous government spending, and letting people go out and build and create. That is what has made this country. Government hasn't made this country great. The people have. The people have. Lack of government has made this country great. Joe Biden needs to stop with his anti-growth policies. It's just that simple. This idea that raising taxes and increasing government spending is somehow going to be helpful. In fact, at this point in time, I put the kibosh on that infrastructure deal that they put out there, because that's just going to cause all sorts of problems. I want to remind everybody, states around the country are flush with cash. And you've got elections coming up. So what do politicians like to do? They like to spend it. And they will. Haphazardly on things we don't need. No, I get it. Fixing potholes and roads and all of those things are important. But we all know that government is not it's not prudent when it comes to our tax dollars and when it comes to spending. The last infrastructure package that we had was what? The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Remember that? Barack Obama and his logo. And what did that give us? Can you name anything? Hey, it gave us a litany of bankrupt companies, solar panel companies, battery companies, all this crap that he decided to invest in because, Barack Obama and his cronies are, they've done a lot when it comes to business. Anyway, Joe Biden yesterday, and I'm sorry, I don't, it's called beating a dead horse. Listen, I trade right now, straight up trade Jimmy Carter, Joe Biden in a heartbeat. Done. Who wouldn't take that trade? I take that trade. I don't care. Jimmy and his sweaters and the solar panels on the roof of the White House and everybody's going to have to cut back. No, I take Jimmy over Joe because he just doesn't know. He just doesn't know. He's given a teleprompter now, and he goes into these friendly audiences. What was the AFL-CIO yesterday? And he was, what did he say here exactly? I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives. Yeah, you're changing people's lives for the worse. You're changing people's lives for the worse. All of this spending that you did has brought us to this point in time where as of right now, the average American is going to spend over $5,000 more on stuff that they have to live on than they did before. That's a tax, my friend. That's a tax, and you did that. You did it. We're changing people's lives. Look at the numbers, for crying out loud. I outside of some, moronic areas like we have here in New York and Illinois and California, who in the world's going to vote for Democrats this time around? How could you? Take a good look around. And again, the overall economy, the free market, what we've built here in this country, quite frankly, it's pretty strong. Considering considering the type of inflation that we have right now. But the American people right now, they feel like crap because they're constantly getting punched in the gut every single time they go to the pump, every single time they go to the grocery store, they go out to eat. It's there. It's there, and it's nonsensical. It really is. This is completely our own doing. This is the doing of government. This is the doing of also, you know what? The American people demanding free stuff. Anyway, got to mention this. The ECB, European Central Bank, is holding a meeting today. Why? This is kind of echoes to some degree going back to 2010 with the sovereign wealth crisis. The ECB has they came out and they say, they're going to stop buying bonds, and there's been a sell-off in many of the southern European countries' bonds. I think the rate on the Italian bonds jumped to over 4%. Again, these countries cannot issue their own money. They're all a member of the euro, right? So, and every single one of them, their own individual country. I mean, imagine how difficult that must be. But their borrowing costs go up. It changes the dynamic. Don't you think it's going to change the dynamic here too? Just put it into perspective, people. Again, let's take the European Central Bank and let's take the European countries, put them aside. Let's think about us. Take a look at the portion of our budget every single year that is reserved for interest payments on our debt. Now, most of our debt here in this country is held in short-term instruments. Short-term, we roll it over. Basically akin to paying one credit card off with another credit card. Now, we do that. Well, one credit card off with another credit card and then adding to it because they keep raising the debt ceiling. The interest rate is going to change, meaning that a greater portion of our budget has to go to paying interest on our debt. Going to be a bit of a problem, don't you think? Especially when we got $30 trillion in debt out there. Correct me if I'm wrong. China's economic numbers came in better than expected. Whenever I hear Chinese economic numbers, again, take it with a grain of salt. Again, you got to understand where this is coming from. This is a communist country. It's not a communist country. It's a command and control country. Command and control. And they control the narrative. They're the ones that can pick up the phone and say, hey, listen, we can't have our economic numbers look too bad or else. And they're just going to comply. It's how it works. That's why I never trust anything that's coming out of China. Joe Biden going to Saudi Arabia, basically a flip-flop. He promised that he would never go to Saudi Arabia. He's not going to do it. Well, as it turns out, he's got to go there and kiss some Saudi ass. That's what he has to do. I mean, let's call it what it is. Biden is going to Saudi Arabia to kiss some Saudi ass, hoping that they'll pump out more oil to bring prices down. Because Joe Biden and his presidency is in a death spiral. And, he doesn't know what to do. He's got his advisors in the White House that don't want him to push against the base and the progressives and the people that don't want us here in this country to be energy independent and drill, baby, drill. I did mention several days ago here on the podcast, if you do recall, the increase in coal production from China and India. Just the increase alone year over year is greater than what we produce altogether here in the United States. Think about that for a second. Just try to get your arms around that. And you think that they're going to head in any sort of different direction? You think they're going to head in any sort of different direction? Not to mention the fact that, quite frankly, we do things in a much cleaner manner than these other countries do. I had this conversation years ago. This was after the BP oil spill in regards to drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. And again, a lot of stuff is, it's in international waters. And I'm saying, listen, somebody's going to go get it out of the ground. Somebody's going to go do it. Wouldn't it be better if we did it? Don't you think we're going to be able to do a better job? And yes, of course, accidents happen. And you don't like to see them happen. But I'm sorry, I would rather trust our technology and our people than China. Just would. Or Russia, for that matter. You ever take a look at some of these areas in Russia that they didn't give a damn about? And I don't know if they do anymore, but they most certainly didn't during the Soviet days, and just the environmental devastation. Just saying. 14 Republican states are demanding Biden restore large domestic oil and gas lease. They filed a brief with the federal appellate court regarding Biden's cancellation of a large domestic oil and gas lease. Good luck with that. Again, you might win, but then they'll just throw an injunction or somebody will file a lawsuit, whatever it may be. It was interesting. I was listening to this guy, people in the energy industry, and also Kyle Bass as well, portfolio manager down in Texas. And they basically echoing what we've been saying here on the program. And these are guys that have the hard numbers. I forget the gentleman's name, the company he worked for. I wrote it down somewhere and I forgot. But they are saying right now, if we want to have these green energy goals, these 2030 green energy goals, we're going to need to increase mining on a myriad of different materials, extraction of all of the, whether it be copper, cobalt, lithium, whatever it may be, anywhere from 200% to some to 1,400% to others. Now, it's the middle of 2022. Does anybody out there think that that's doable? Anybody out there think that we're going to be able to mine like that? First off, try to get a mine approved. Deal with all. It's difficult enough in this country to get a sidewalk cafe approved to put some tables outside of your restaurant, let alone a mine. So you think this is possible, do you? I mean, unless we find some way to, we find some asteroid going by where we're able to snag it and mine it. Do you see it happening? I don't. I don't see it happening. Quite frankly, it's ridiculous. The concept of it is absolutely ridiculous. 200 to 1,400%. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Bitcoin. I forgot about this. We were talking about cryptos yesterday. El Salvador. This is what happens when you elect some know-it-all millennial to lead your country that doesn't know what he doesn't know, but is as arrogant as hell, like many kids. The Bitcoin crash is most certainly hitting El Salvador. Their entire position is down by over 50%. Down by over 50%. Again, it's amazing to me. Bill Gates basically talking about crypto and those NFTs. He used the same words that I said. It's a greater fool theory. That's all it is. That's all it is you got to find somebody else to buy. Find somebody else to buy your stuff. You haven't built anything. You haven't created anything. You haven't provided any sort of service. Okay. Mentioned Coinbase laying off 18% of their staff. Celsius, which is that crypto lender, whatever the hell that means. So I mentioned this when they were talking about Celsius and what it did. I was like, why? My eyes glazed over. My eyes, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Didn't make any sense whatsoever. It doesn't. And they've got to hire, law firm now to, figure out restructuring. That structure, it's got to figure out, eventually, I think they're worried about trying to keep themselves out of jail. But again, stupid is as stupid does. No one held a gun to your head and told you to listen to Kim Kardashian, Matt Damon, LeBron James, some rapper, some boxer, whatever it may, Floyd Mayweather was in this too, to go out there and buy fake money. The one that really got me, it was started as a joke. Dog E-coin or Dogecoin, whatever you want to call it. The thing's down 95% from where it was. But I remember talking about this back in 2016 on the radio show. I said to myself, I got to come out with some watchdog coin for crying out loud. Same thing. Caterpillar, next one. Great American company, Caterpillar, construction equipment maker, moving its headquarters to Texas from Illinois. You don't say. Oh, you mean the conditions are better? They're more conducive for business in Texas than they are in Illinois? That's a surprise. Geez, we're not seeing that happening. And again, the people that are running these states are so arrogant that I guess they just don't seem to care. The other side of inflation and the slowdown we're having right now is that many retailers out there they've got inventory issues. They've got too much inventory and stuff that you may have been coveting over the past couple of years and have a difficult time purchasing, stuff like outdoor furniture. A lot of that stuff's going to be going on sale. I'm telling you. After the 4th of July, you're going to see markdowns. You're going to see markdowns on a lot of outerwear, athletic. There's going to be some major markdowns at many stores out there. I'm just telling you. Everybody's got to market for new patio furniture. Wait till after the 4th of July. Shrinkflation duping customers as companies seek profits during inflation spike. It's not really. Come on, I don't want. It's not really duping customers, okay? I mean, they put the size of the package. They're telling you what the weight is. If it changes, it changes. And it's changing why? Because they don't have a choice. They'd rather not raise their prices. I know some people might think, this is a little sneaky, this is a little underhand. I guess I understand that point to some degree. But the real point is that their costs have gone through the roof. Did you see the PPI number yesterday? Yeah, it came in a little bit lower than expected, but it was still high. Anyway, quickly on this. There's Richard Bernstein today in the Wall Street Journal, and he kind of runs down America's foreign policy, in my opinion, failings since World War II. This guy is should be a foreign correspondent for Time, the New York Times, and he talks about our halfway measures. The concept, and we do this here in this country. We have this belief when it comes to our foreign policy that we can get a little bit pregnant. We do. I've said this for a while. If you're going to commit kids, you're going to commit America's kids to go and fight in some godforsaken place, you better be in it to win it. And in his column, he goes back to, doing things, again, half-ass with China, half-ass and, Vietnam. He goes, all of these different things, goes all the way through half measures. And he was tying it right now into what's taking place in the Ukraine. either you're in or you're out. And again, I mean, this is, anybody starting to recognize kind of how ridiculous this is? We're supposed to provide. We're supposed to provide Ukraine with this missile launcher. I guess we're giving 4 of them. Zelensky says he needs 300. We're giving 4. Promised 4. They haven't arrived yet. Either you're gonna do something or you're not going to do something. Make the decision. Make the decision. And right now, NATO ally, that they're getting sick and tired of paying the higher energy prices. That they don't like what's going on, and you're going to see them back away to some degree. It's just the reality. It is the reality of the situation. And yeah, it's foreign policy problems. We have, in his column, he talks about, Afghanistan. And again, went in there, did what we needed to do, should have gotten the blank out. Should have gotten the blank out. You know what? Put ourselves a base there because it was strategic. Again, we gave that up, for crying out loud. Just one dumb foreign policy misadventure after another. And I know the people on the left, what's his name there? Tom Friedman in New York Times talking about Biden and how he rallied Europe. And Europe and NATO are so strong right now. Come on, give me a break. I mean, seriously? Are you serious? No, come on, people. This is just as ridiculous at this point in time. There has to be a push for some sort of settlement. There is, because this is going to get worse and worse for the people that are there. It's going to continue to be protracted. If you're not going to go in, you know what? It's not going to end well. And I'm not saying that we should. I've mentioned that before. I don't think we should. Anyway, have a great day, buddy. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Watchdog on wallstreet.com. We'll see you.
About it, and I'll leave you with this, and you can ask me any questions. Here's the final 2 lines of the letter. Vladimir Putin's price hike, which price hike are both capitalized. I'm not sure why, but Vladimir Putin's price hike, all caps, are driving up costs for consumers. I appreciate your immediate attention to this issue and your efforts to mitigate the economic challenges that Vladimir Putin's actions have created for American families. So Putin's mentioned it 5 times, I think. There's your last paragraph. We'll see how the oil and gas companies respond, but brand new.
This is really interesting because when you say they'll use all the tools at hand, do you think they're talking about tax incentives to try and convince them to do this? Or do you think this is more like, we're going to force you to do this and we're going to come up with a windfall profits tax and we're going to